Coronavirus here on this Thursday morning. Here are the three things and counting down from number three. Cruise ships could be coming back before you know it, according to USA Today. The CDC said cruising could restart in July as long as 95% of passengers are fully vaccinated, but we've not heard yet from directly from the CDC. All right, let's get to number two here. And there's a new push to get our neighbors vaccinated. Public health experts are suggesting door-to-door outreach. They say it's key in protecting those vulnerable communities from a COVID-19 outbreak. And now to number one here, vaccinated and at least 65 or older. You'll most likely avoid the hospital if you ever catch COVID-19. Some good news. That's according to new CDC research. And there's still some serious pushback, though, Brandy, about even getting the shot.
Yeah, Xavier, especially from people who feel like they're being forced to get vaccinated. The Houston Methodist nurse who refuses to get the COVID-19 vaccine says she's going to file a lawsuit against her employer. In an update to her change.org petition, Jennifer Bridges wrote, "A lawsuit will be in play very shortly. And if she follows through, she'll be among the first Americans to sue over required COVID-19 vaccines." Bridges also started a GoFundMe to help with the legal battle, which she notes will take a while and possibly become expensive. Now, at this point, she's raised about $3,000 of her $500,000 goal. Some background here. Houston Methodist says all of its employees must get vaccinated against the virus by June 7th. And at last check, the president and CEO told KHU 11 that about 89% of employees, we're talking 26,000 of them, got the shot, and that leaves about 3,000 who haven't, including Bridges. Houston Methodist isn't commenting on the potential lawsuit until it's filed. Now, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, or EEOC, met yesterday to talk about whether employers can mandate employees get the vaccine.
We believe the commission should clarify its existing guidance to state that employers may implement a mandatory vaccine.
EEOC issued guidance about COVID-19 vaccines in the workplace back in December, ruling it's not a medical examination, so an employer can require it, especially if getting the vaccine is job-related and consistent with business necessity. Another part of the document says employers can request proof of the vaccine. And yes, medical or religious exemptions do apply, but employers can ask for proof of that too. Now, I mentioned Bridges would be among the first to sue. In other cases, educators and a detention officer make a similar case to Bridges, arguing that COVID-19 vaccines are only authorized for emergency use and they just want more time. All of those lawsuits will be grounds for major legal battles in the years to come.